This illustration deals with general lighting loads by non-dwelling occupancies in accordance with Table 220.12. Purpose of change. A revision has been accepted. A revision has been made to Table 220.12 based upon the revisions since the 1970s. These revisions have consist of reducing the lighting loads and a few occupancies based upon the technology enhancements over time. However, a comprehensive list of data has been historically not been available to support a revision to this table. The energy code adopted across the country have also created further discussion around the appropriate values listed in Table 220.12. However, some states adopt and enforce energy codes that were adopted over a decade ago. The development of the lighting power densities in the energy code have been established through case studies of various occupancies from ASHRAE 90.1, which is the energy code standard, which provided the foundation for this revision to the values in Table 220.12. Now, for example, Table 220.12 deals with listed occupancies. Say you're dealing with a welding shop. A welding shop is not listed necessarily in Table 220.12, so we call that an unlisted occupancy, and we reference 220.14, I believe A through L or M, and we pick up procedures for calculating the load based upon, and we're talking about lighting load, receptacle load, and so forth, and appliances and motors and so forth, that are not listed in Table 220.12. Now, in the revision of Table 220.12, the dwelling unit 3 VA per square foot remained the same, but it's been moved from the table into 220.14J, I believe it is. And J deals with the 3 VA per square foot for a dwelling unit. And we know that inspectors will take the 3 VA per square foot, divide it by 120 volts, times a 15 or 20 amp breaker and conductors that supply the receptacles or lighting. So what I'm trying to get over here is that you would take 120 volts times a 20 amp receptacle or a 20 amp overcurrent device with number 12 conductors, divide the multiply the 120 times 20, you come up with 2,400. Divide that by 3, and that's 800 square foot. So your lighting outlets and receptacle outlets in that area would be calculated by that 3 VA per square foot. That would tell you the number of circuits needed. Now, when a inspector enters into a dwelling unit, they look at the 3 VA per square foot rule, they look at the small appliance rule, and then the direct circuit rules, and that's how they usually make their inspection to determine if enough circuitry is provided. Now, you take a commercial building, they'll do the same thing. They'll take the square footage, divide it by whatever the VA rating is, and they can come up with the number of circuits, basically, when you know they use the protective device and its size and that kind of thing. Now, looking at Table 220.12, we find it's an office building. So referencing the new Table 220.12, it's no longer 3.5 VA per square foot plus 1 VA for receptacles if the load is not known for the receptacle load. That's a big, massive change to the rule. So the office building to the left states 15,000 square foot of halls, 277 volt, 3-phase. So we would take the 15,000 in the boxed in calculation, times the new VA rating of 1.3 VA equals 19,500. Now, notice that basically speaking, the 125% does not have to be applied. That would be 19,500. But if you still want to put the 125% on, then it would be 24,375 and not 19,500. So the total load would be 24,375 VA if now the 125% is applied. But notice the table reads now and tells us that you don't have to put the 125% on there without, that's just designing criteria that the designer uses. You could consider 19,500 the final calculation. So you can see that that's a big change. Now, one other thing, the note points out that table 220.12 and table 220.42 for new VA per square foot values is still applicable under certain conditions, and other conditions no. So review the table very carefully and notice that it doesn't say office building anymore. There's a note below the table that refers you to retail occupancies where a store and an office would fall now. So you can see that there's been some big changes made to table 220.12. The VA values are no longer has a greater rating. They're lesser ratings in many cases when you look at the table.